Question 8 says, the narrator implies that Miss Corborough favors a form of education that emphasizes. So for this type of question, again, I'm looking at this word implies, and I'm remembering that on the SAT, it can be an actual implication that's not said but hinted at heavily, or it can actually just mean explicitly said. So can't get a lot from that, but it could be two different sides there. What I'm really locking onto also is this form of education that she favors. So I want this to come from her mouth, right? Very important to keep the agency of this question in mind. And also I'm remembering that because we are teaching her kids, and by we I mean Lady Carlotta is teaching her kids, we have to have already been introduced to her kids. And so that can help me narrow down where I can find this information. So with that in mind, let's go find where her kids are, and it will follow that we will find the form of education that she favors. So at the end of our second column here, we have the paragraph where Lady Carlotta is introduced to the children that she will be teaching. And at the top of the next paragraph, Miss Corborough has a quote. She says, "I wish them not only to be taught," said Miss Corborough, "but interested in what they learn. In their history lessons, for instance, you must try to make them feel that they are being introduced to the life stories of men and women who really lived, not merely committing a mass of names and dates to memory." So here, she is telling us exactly what form of education she favors. She's saying not just taught, but interested. It's very easy to give a lecture, I assume is her opinion, not so easy to make them interested. That's what she's paying the big bucks for. She also elaborates her point of view by saying she doesn't want it to be merely committing a mass of names and dates to memory, like we all know that history classes so often devolve into. So now that we know her opinion on the form of education she favors, let's go look at some of her options. Choice A says traditional values. Now we can imagine that being important in education, but it's not something Ms. Corborough says explicitly. And even though I know this says implies, she says what she wants. So we're just going to say what she wants, which is not A. Active engagement. Active engagement seems to fit very well when we remember her quote about not just taught, but interested in what they learn. That seems to be speaking towards engagement very nicely. So B feels like a strong possibility to me. Choice C says artistic experimentation. Not sure how that works off of the form of education that she emphasizes. She doesn't mention any of that in the quote we read, so I feel very confident in not picking it. Choice D says factual retention. This is a trap. We can imagine factual retention would be important for education, but she says the exact opposite. She doesn't want just the education to consist of factual retention. She wants active engagement, because it's the opposite of what I'm picking, or of what she says. I'm not picking it. Which leads us back to choice B, which I now feel very strongly about.